Morning, even afternoon, TimTheTatman 2, just chatting podcast version of me. We got a banger for you today, baby. Now, I'm in a blessed position in my life now, being able to do YouTube, stream, things I love. Very, very blessed, but there was times where I was working jobs that sucked. I used to do some odd jobs here and there, but what you're about to hear is the worst job I ever had and the worst day of work that I also ever have had in my life. If you work this kind of job, I'm sure you're going to be able to relate with this and understand the pain that I felt. Be sure to drop a like on this and share with a friend. If you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, TimTheTatman 2, hit the sub button and ring the bell. Be sure to tell somebody you love them. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. You guys want to hear about one of my worst work days ever? You guys want to hear about it? I'll tell you about it. I don't care if you want to hear about it. I'll tell you. This was hands down my worst work day I've ever had. I was a young man. I believe I was, let me get the age right. I was 20. Okay. So I was 20 years old. I was working in a warehouse. I had to be at work. I had to clock into work at 4 a.m. and my shift was about 4 to 2. All right. So it's 3:30 in the morning and I wake up. I don't have a driver's license at this point. I am 20 years old without a driver's license. That is true. That is very true. Everyone can laugh at me for that. Didn't have my driver's license because I didn't want it. And so I had to wake my dad up at 3:30 in the morning and have him drive and drop me off at the warehouse. So I wake my dad up and he's mad, obviously. He's like, because I didn't tell him beforehand. This is probably just, this is just me in a nutshell, poor planning, stuff like that. So I wake him up at like 3:45 and the warehouse is probably about a 10 minute drive. And I'm like, Dad, I need you to drop me off. I got to go to work. And he goes, ugh, give me a bit. So he waits till about 3:50, 3:55 and he rolls out and he goes, all right, let's go. Brings me over to work, right? And I get there and for some reason we caught every light, every single light. We caught it. There's probably a total of 4 lights on the way to this warehouse. And we caught every single one at 3:55 in the morning. And I tell him, I'm like, Dad, I'm going to be late. So he starts whipping it, pulls me around. It's 3:59 in his car when I get out of the door. All right. I open the door. I say, thanks. I run into the warehouse. I go to clock in 4:01. So I go, well, that's not a good start. I'm late. Boss comes out within 5 minutes. The boss comes out and he goes, Tim. I'm like, shit. So I go over there and he goes, I see you clocked in late today. And I was like, yep. I was like, yeah, I caught every light on the way here. Unfortunate. And he goes, yeah, I don't care. And he basically sums it up where he goes, if you're late again, I'm going to have to let you go. And I said, thanks, man. One minute late, you're on my fucking cock at 4 a.m. This is what I love to see. So I said, okay, boss. And I smiled at him for 1 minute late. And he was one of those, here's what I'll say about this guy, that boss. He was one of those guys that I think worked in the warehouse for a long time, finally worked up to be like a manager, whatever the fuck he was. I don't even know, head, whatever. And so he was really fucking anal on shit like that. You know what I mean? That kind of a guy, if you will. He's kind of like, Tim, you're not going to succeed in this line of work of warehouses. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. So whatever. It was a bad start to my morning. Okay. That's a good summary of it. Bad start to my morning. All right. So what I used to do at this job, I'll just demonstrate for you at this warehouse. I had a scanner. I saw a scanner and it told me where things were. And I went and I picked them up. Okay. I picked up these boxes. I opened the boxes up and I slid product down these like little chutes where people would start to take stuff and pack them up again. That's what I did. So that was my job. So I start doing the thing, blah, blah, blah. And you're supposed to have a number that you hit. And I'm doing my thing, going about the day, blah, blah, blah. You're not supposed to have music in. I'm just sitting there literally thinking to myself about how much I hate this. And I'm just doing a normal job, stuff like that. And then I get this one big box. And I cut it like normal, and I cut it, and I open it, and I cut some product. Because for some reason, in this one particular box, it was pushed more to the top than the other ones. I don't know what happened in this one in particular, but I cut open. It was something tiny, Chad. It was like this little, it's not anything crazy, right? It wasn't like I just cut open a leather seat on a Lamborghini. It was like a lotion bottle or something like that, right? So I cut the product. So now I have to bring that to my boss, be like, hey, just so you know, bring it to my boss, who's already unhappy with me for being a minute late. And I go, hey man, I cut this. At this point, it's like 7 or 8 a.m. And he looks at me and he just goes, Tim, I just don't know if you have the drive that you need for this kind of line of work. He goes, I don't think that you have that kind of drive. I don't know what you're going to do here. I don't think he basically said, if I mess up again that day, that I'm gone, basically, is kind of the short of it. Dude, I don't know, man. I was like, bro, I accidentally cut the lotion. It wasn't like I ruined a bunch of stuff. So the day goes by, and I'm doing my job. I am cutting the boxes, lifting them, putting them in the chute for 5 to 6 hours. Around 2 o'clock rolls around. This is around the time I'm supposed to leave. And my boss comes to me and he goes, Tim, I'm about to head out, but I need you to stay 1 more hour today. And so in this moment, I had 2 avenues of where I was going to go. One, I say, no, I'm leaving, and he's mad at me. 2, I say, okay, boss, with a smile, and I suck up the last hour. So, like a good employee I am, I say, okay, boss, and I smile, and I am now staying till 3. So at this point, it's about an 11-hour workday. I got there at 4:01 a.m., and I am now working until 3. And just so you guys understand, if you've worked in a warehouse, I'm sure you understand the atmosphere there. I wouldn't say the atmosphere, at least of the warehouse I was working in, it wasn't necessarily vibey. It wasn't like, man, I love being here. You know what I mean? Love my job. It's pretty kind of toxic. You know what I mean? People are just, making fun of each other, all the shit, like ripping cigarettes. It's like all the air stale. It's basically a warehouse. So I get done at 3 o'clock. So a 10-hour and 59-minute workday because I clocked in a minute late. All right. This is the worst part of my day right here. So it's 3 o'clock and I'm ready to go home. And because I have to wake up tomorrow morning and do the same fucking thing that I just did today. So I text my dad and I go, yo, can you pick me up? I'm done with work right now because I don't have a driver's license. And I just want you guys to know as well, this is before Uber. This isn't like an Uber thing. I didn't even have a smartphone at this point. This is like, the phone I had was like one of those flip phones. Like there's no Uber. Okay. And I'm like, can you come get me? And he goes, nah, I'm working late. I can't. He goes, call your stepmom. I'm like, okay. I call my stepmom. Hey, I just got out of work. Can you come get me? No, I got to work late too. I texted a couple friends, called a couple friends. Hey, can you guys come get me? No, no one can get me. No bus. One thing I'll say about Syracuse, they have terrible like public transportation. Terrible. Okay. No taxis, guys. This is Syracuse, New York. This isn't the Big Apple. This is a smaller city in upstate. Okay. So I text everyone. I call everyone. No one can come get me. So I started to walk. That's all I could do. I was like, I gotta walk home. Now, keep in mind, this is a 10-minute drive. So this is about, in total, it's like, realistically, I started just walking and I didn't really know how long it was going to take me, but I just started walking. Okay. So I start walking home. This is middle of summer. I'm walking home in my warehouse jeans and boots with a t-shirt. And I'm just thinking about how mad I am and how angry I am and how much I hate that job and all this shit, right? It's all festering in me now because now I'm walking home. All I want to do is go home and play World of Warcraft, and I can't because now I have to walk home. Middle of summer, I'm walking, okay? Just walking. It's a very busy road I'm walking on, very busy. One of the larger ones out there. And there's a sidewalks, like a side spot that you can just walk up. So I'm just walking back to my house. So it's about 4 o'clock. It is about an hour. I am almost to my development. I've walked an hour after working for 11 hours, right? And as I'm about to get to my development, and this is just the cherry on top of this day, all right? I'm about to turn in and like get down and walk to my house and walk to our street. I'm like 2 minutes away at this point. So I walk an hour from the warehouse because no one can come get me. And right as I'm about to turn into my development, a car drives by and they all of a sudden start slow rolling. And it's a bunch of guys and they roll down the window and they go, "Fuck you, fat ass!" And they drove away. Worst day of my life, man. Literally. Actual worst like work day of my life. I'm not kidding. I will never forget that day ever because of just how bad it was. I was like, this is just such a shitty day. So I literally, that was the last thing I heard. It was 4 in the afternoon. At this point, it's been 12 hours since I've been awake, and I walked an hour home, right, in the summer, in the heat. And so I finally I got home that day, and I just remember sitting at my computer and I just logged into WoW, and it was like the happiest I'd felt in a very long time. So that was hands down the worst work day I've ever had. I'll never forget that day. Never. Because I'm like, why the fuck are these guys yelling at me, dude? I'm already in such a bad spot today. You guys got to call me a fat ass out the window too, man. But it was a tough day, man. It was just tough. I just hated it. I hated every minute about it. So needless to say, look at us now, right, chat? We made it. But did I end up quitting that job? I worked at that job for a little while longer. Not much. A little bit. But it was a tough job, man. There's something about working in a warehouse. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've worked in a warehouse, you can attest to this. There really is something about it that was just almost, I would use the word life sucking, soul draining, you know, no sun. At least when I was landscaping, I was outside a little bit. There's something about it that is just, it's harsh lights. Everyone kind of hates being there, and it's just kind of the end of it. I don't know, but I did that job for a little while. Thankfully, I don't do that anymore, and I now sit here for a living. Everyone type poggers. But that was a tough day, man. And it's like a repetition too. It's so repetitive. It just feels so repetitive. And it's for what? You know what I mean? Like, I think at that point it was like minimum wage. It's tough, man. It's tough. But one thing I'll say is, man, that taught me that, you know, you're gonna have some bad days. You're also gonna have some good days. That was kind of the takeaway that I got from that. And that was a bad day. That was a bad day. Now I'm a sit-down comedian. So that's me, you know, happy to be here. Still no sun, but